Hello, I'd like to share a few experiences with my DJI Mavic Pro, which is a semi-professional drone. It captures video material in 4K, which appeals to us professional photographers, as well as to video artists and lots of other people. I usually don't use it for the fun of flying, although I quite enjoy it. I have a private pilot license as well, which I don't use anymore, but it's a lovely little thing, and it fits in my backpack with 0.7 kilograms. It's just nothing, and the only thing I have to keep in mind all the time is to keep the batteries charged. I have an extra battery pack, which is turned out to be very useful when you find a nice thing to shoot and then the battery all of a sudden runs out of energy, and then it's all gone. What I'm basically doing here in this YouTube video is read the blog entry to you, which is like my which is like my diary about the first couple of weeks experiences with the magic of the Mavic. You find it under my webpage, which is maxschönherr.de/clock, and then you just search for Mavic. It's there, and I put the link down there anyway. The Mavic Pro is an amazing photo and video drone with some flaws and several things to think about when getting used to it. Here is a growing list of my experiences, which you don't find in the manual. Most considerations apply to all photo drones. Firstly, keep in mind that a photo drone is two things in one. It's a camera and a flying machine. If you've never flown a drone before, you will see that both things are just compromises until you progress. In order to become a drone pilot, you need lots of practice. A drone flies differently from a Boeing aircraft or a fighter plane in a computer game. And the key thing is to know where the front of the drone is, because all your joystick movements rely on the orientation of the Mavic in the air. Example, if the drone is 20 meters away from a tree and you try to fly it more into the open, you can easily navigate it into the tree, which causes a crash. And then it falls to the ground, which is quite dramatic. So there is a button on the controller which is called the pause button. It's very important. If you ever get into trouble, press the pause button, and maybe if there's enough room above you, fly the drone higher. You will find circumstances like dark weather, like evening or night, and inside flying, where the drone behaves totally unnaturally and where the stop button doesn't help, but you have to provide extra care for that, maybe propeller rigs or whatever. There's a nice thing about the different settings of the drone in the app, which you use together with the controller, and one of the things I would recommend is the tripod mode. It's very good for first exercises. It makes the Mavic very slow. There's a slider at the right of the controller which puts the drone into sports mode, which is quite hefty. It's it's not good because it makes the drone fly very fast, so stick to the tripod. And there's another mode which is called cinematic mode, which promises to keep the drone motion slow. I don't recommend that for beginners because it does make the braking slow as well. So another dangerous mode is called tap fly. You select an object on the smartphone screen and the Mavic shoots off into that direction. I tried that today again, actually. I showed the drone camera my humble self, and it accelerated towards me, over me, and off it went, and behind me were trees. The pause button was my last rescue. If you think your drone is getting into problems, press that pause button, especially when you're under GPS, so GPS flying is the most comfortable way of flying. The Mavic has optical sensors to the front and to the bottom. They work within a range of over 15 meters, I've heard. However, complex and airy subjects like trees might not be detected properly, and the surfaces of a lake is problematic as well. So don't rely on the cameras, but it's always nice to have the camera working. Fly the Mavic close to you when you start working with the drone, let it circle around you. There are tracking and spotlight modes which help you with such complex movements, especially orienting the camera to an object you like to see and keep in focus, maybe yourself for a trial. A strange thing about drones is that they can fly far away from us. In airplanes and cars, we normally sit inside the moving object. The Mavic is all alone on her or its trip. Because of that distance, we don't see how close the drone is from a house or a car or a high tree or a power line. We have to rely on the camera, so learn to rotate the Mavic and its gimbal, which carries the camera, and always check out where is the front so you can fly it home safely. If you record videos or stills, they're stored in a decent resolution on your smartphone with the sound you hear on the ground actually, the drone's propellers, the conversation with your friend, etc. The drone itself stores a high-res version of the same material on its built-in SD card. Don't fly the Mavic inside buildings. That's a sad thing because DJI says you can fly it inside. There's a flaw which can easily cause crashes. The drone is in ATI mode, which means it listens to you. You control its position. It does not know where it is because GPS is off. But if then all of a sudden a GPS signal comes in through a window, the Mavic autonomously switches to GPS mode and tries to autonomously correct its position. In that case, it almost certainly flies against a wall, and you can't stop it. From what I've heard, other DJI drones have the same button on the controller to have an explicit button on the controller to explicitly disable GPS, but the Mavic Pro doesn't. So be careful flying it inside and be careful flying it at night. I recently flew it at night or sort of in dim evening light, where the bottom sensors didn't see anything, and when I landed the drone, it didn't hover as usual, half a meter above the ground before actually landing, but it just fell to the ground when I moved the joystick downwards. So that's very tricky, and it's problematic. The same thing on lakes and surfaces, smooth water surfaces, etc. I've set up a couple of scenarios in that blog how you could try to overcome the first angst, and you will find them in the blog. It's basically starting the drone and letting it hover 1.2 meters, which is very comfortable. It gives you comfort, really. And then you try the same thing and extend your altitude to 20 meters out in the open, and then bring it back, and then try to rotate the drone without using the automatic modes. That's a very challenging thing, and you can think about it how you will manage that so the drone flies in a circle above you and around you. So that's basically all I want to say for now. Stay safe and enjoy.